And we're live. Hey, welcome to another episode of Steezy Sports. And today I'm joined by my friend Shiva. How's it, mate?
All good, X. All good. I feel like I'm in an interview here, but it's all
Right.
it's cool. It's cool. I should get a tie,
Yeah, man. Yes. Yeah, no, bro. I mean, you the top candidate, and speaking about top candidate, let's start off with your team. How does it feel being on top of the log, mate?
I feel like it's unnecessary pressure this at this point of our
Wait,
of
I'm just getting
our.
my charger now.
Okay, cool, cool. I'll just give X a couple of seconds there for the guys who
Ah,
are
shit.
watching.
Fuck, fuck,
Not
fuck,
sure
fuck.
if he's even watching.
Oh, switch off. Whew. Sorry about that. Back at you. Yeah,
Yeah,
how
no,
does it
cool.
feel?
So what I'm saying is, I feel like it's unnecessary pressure. Like we're top because we probably wasn't a team that really challenged us. Um,
Mm,
maybe AC Milan were probably the biggest challenge, and
yeah.
we did lose to Forest despite playing them out the park. So it's like you cannot draw too many conclusions from this. It's eight
Mm,
games in, 7 games in, 8 games in. Yes, we are top, but we've also had the easiest run.
mm,
If we are top at the next international break, then I would start taking it seriously. But for right
mm,
now, I wanted top four at the start of the season. It looks like we'll get top four. So I'm
yeah.
happy from that perspective.
Yeah. So, do you feel okay? Of course, Slot has exceeded your expectations thus far, as far as how you guys play and the way you guys control the game. I know your next fixture is Arsenal. I think yeah, it is
Chelsea.
Arsenal. Oh, Chelsea,
Chelsea.
rather. Chelsea, yes, Chelsea. Yeah, that's why I'm wearing blue. Chelsea, my bad. Like, are you feeling confident that you'll get the 3 points in that fixture?
Where I am sitting right now, this is before our players go on international break and get their
Mm,
international break injuries.
mm,
I am feeling confident just because from what I've seen of Chelsea, they lack control in midfield.
mm,
And I think our midfield this season has ironically been our strongest point.
mm,
So I think we'll win the midfield battle, and I think winning the midfield battle means we can go on and win the game. Now,
mm,
I'm not saying that a moment of brilliance from Palmer or them just hitting us on the counter or something like that won't happen, because something like that could happen and that could lead to them winning the game or getting a goal, or if they're doing it twice, um, that could lead to them winning the game. But I think we control the midfield, and I think the midfield control leads to us winning the game. That's how we've been winning against a fair enough smaller teams, but I don't think Chelsea have the same level of control in midfield as the other big teams.
mm. No, I agree with you on that. Because that's what came to mind. I was even going to ask you about the midfield battle, but it's evident, provided that everyone is fit,
Provided
because
that
you
everyone is fit.
guys you guys can't afford an injury, like especially to like a Ryan Gravenberch. you
Mhm.
know it would be very, very, very detrimental to the game. But I also do think that your coach, man, it's crazy when I look at your coach and I look at mine. They're both from the same country. They both have
We
the
got the
exact same
same hairstyle.
hairstyle,
Yep.
you know yet one seems to know what they're doing in comparison to the other. Did you feel that Slot, um did you expect him to grasp things this quickly and get the team playing the way they're playing? Because clearly there's a difference in how you play now in comparison to the club era.
So when he came in, I watched his first interview and I'm like, this guy, he knows what he's talking about, right? Hey, Onke, don't feel
Hey,
like
What's
I'm in
up?
the interview
What's up,
anymore.
Jits?
yeah,
Now
it
you can
doesn't
be
feel
in
like
the
an
interview with
interview.
me.
It's a panel interview. It's a panel interview.
we can both get grilled here.
Yeah,
Yeah, Slot,
yeah.
from his first interview, I felt like he knew what he was doing.
Mm,
So I didn't feel, I still don't feel like as comfortable as I felt under Klopp. But I do feel like he can get us top four this season, learn the squad a bit more, maybe bring in his own signings in January.
Mm,
Um, and I feel like he's a manager who does learn from what he sees in front of him.
mm,
Um, Unfortunately, your manager does not learn from what he sees in front of him. He, I don't know, he sits down, he studies, he does his homework, and then he comes the next day and he tries to implement and doesn't care what's happening on the pitch.
yeah.
Um, why I say that is because I see Slot making subtle changes in the game. The most common one I see is like, and it's definitely under instruction because I see McAllister and Gravenberch like swapping for 15 minutes who's sitting and who's going forward and who's playing the 6, who's playing the 8. I see
Yeah.
that happen just depending on what he needs to do. I see Sobozlai either drifting to the left or staying central, just depending
Mm,
on what's going on. I'd want him to drift to the right so that it's Salah that's getting into the box more, but I'm not on a slot. I've never coached a football team. He clearly knows something I don't. Um, and I think that adaptability will see him do well. I'm not getting carried away. I know we're top, but as I said, we've had the easiest fixtures, we've had the best run, we haven't had too many injuries. Things have been
mm.
good, so I'm not getting carried away. Right now, I'm happy where I am, but after 38 games, I don't expect us to be there.
Hmm. And then Onke, I know we spoke about it not too long ago before you arrived. It's gonna be, of course, Chelsea versus Liverpool. Which area do you think? Okay, from a let's say you support Liverpool. Which area do you think they can exploit in your team in order to get the 3 points against your team? Yeah.
Um, I think right now Liverpool's only weakness. Well, I say only, but there are other places you could
Mm-hmm.
identify weakness, but I think their biggest weakness is the left side. You have to try to isolate Konate, take him away from Virgil, because when Virgil provides support for him, he's able to cover for Trent very well. So you can exploit Trent by isolating Konate. So for example, I would have Jackson force Konate to be as mobile as he can, and then get Sancho 1v1 with Trent, and then
Mm,
pull Virgil out by either overloading with both Palmer and Madueke on the right, because he has to basically take care of one of them for Robertson. So you have to. It's the thing is though, with Liverpool, you sort of have to play very well in the moments. And it's always going to be the case, Liverpool versus Chelsea. It's always going to be how well do you play in the moments. I'm sure he can. I'm sure Shiva can say the same thing. It's always going to be about what you did in those moments that you were able to create for yourself. Because you're not gonna get that many. You still have to beat Allison behind that entire defense as well.
It,
You
so
know,
so it will be Queeve in goal. Allison's done a hammy. He's out
right.
at least until the next international break.
where's
Mm,
Kelleher?
Yeah,
yeah.
Queeve Kelleher. That's his
Oh,
Oh,
name.
please.
His name is Queeve,
oh,
but it's
I
not
wow.
spelled Queeve, but it's Queeve.
Wow. Okay, we learn something new every day, bro.
like I didn't know his name was Queen. I'm like,
His
Same
who
name
here.
is
is
Queeve.
Queen?
I was wondering who the same here, bro. I was about to say who the heck is Queen?
It's not spelled Queeve. There's no
Yeah,
V. There's no W. There's
yeah.
no
What?
E. But it's Queeve. It's Irish.
Oh, it's Irish. Okay.
Oh, okay. I guess this is also the reason why I've never heard anyone say his name,
Hmm.
because it's always Kelleher. You never hear anyone, like you will hear someone say Alison Becker. Like
Yeah.
you hear commentators say Alison Becker. I have
Mm.
never heard anyone use Kelleher's first name. That's why I
Yeah.
went to Kelleher. Because I'm like, I've never actually known his real name.
So
Um,
now that you know that is his name, listen, you'll actually hear them saying it. I think it's actually
Probably
Queven.
Queeve and Kelleher. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
but it's Queeve.
So
Like
it's
Wow.
like a Kevin, but
it's
an
that's
Irish.
exactly it. It's Irish for Kevin.
Mm,
Wow, that's
wow.
actually a cool name.
Good guess. Oh,
Yeah, but I think that's always the challenge with Liverpool. It's beating that entire defense. You have to beat the whole defense. You don't, like, you know how we used to say, if you beat Trent, you get to the defense. Konate's been able to. He's very smart in how he uses his pace, because he knows exactly when to speed up to catch the defender, or when to body an attacker. That's what I meant, to body an attacker, so that you're not able to get an advantage ahead of him. So you sort of need someone who's a bit crafty, a bit, someone who writes off script. We have that in Jackson, and the few times they've played together as well, there's been some Jules Jackson's one, there's been some jewels that Konate is one. But the biggest problem was, they always, Virgil and Konate were always able to isolate um um who's this Jackson on his own. What we have this season is, we are able to bring in support for Jackson. So Jackson doesn't play on the ball. We can bring the ball to the box for Jackson. So he doesn't need to now do that entire thing he was doing under Poch, where he needs to run half the length of the field to try and create something or be troublesome for a defender. So now he can use those skills in a much in a shorter space, basically. And I think also we have to allow Liverpool to be comfortable on the ball, so that we can quickly hit on the counter, because that's one of the strengths we've created this season.
yeah.
Liverpool play a very high line when they're comfortable on the ball. How we play our counters, we don't play directly through the middle. We tend to use Nico and Palmer as our pivots in the middle, that spread the ball to the wings. Now, I know that on the right, on Liverpool's left side, they've got Robertson, who's got enough speed and pace and intelligence to match up to Noni very well. But Noni's got that extra 1v1 type of dribbling skill, same as Pedro, that I think can cause Robertson problems. Because I've seen other wingers cause Robertson problems with that 1v1 skill. But with Trent, you can count on two things. It's easier to catch him out of position, first of all, because he drifts much more in this system, even though he doesn't overlap like he used to under Klopp. But he tends to drift either into midfield, or he's going to be like on the right side of the midfield line. So Sancho can get space behind him, where Enzo can find him, where Palmer can find him, when we have an overlap on that side, and we can try to create from that side. But it's going to take a lot of quality, because the game plan won't matter. It's going to be about what quality do you have in those moments, because we are going to give Liverpool moments, they're going to give us moments. You'll never have a game like that, and both teams don't create good enough chances to score, even if it's a half chance. At that level, half chances are worth goals. So it's going to be about
I think
who's
it'll be a
great
little bit
in those
different
moments,
this time.
and one can only hope that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Wow.
okay. I think
Yeah,
it'll be a little bit different this time. What you said is like nail on the head, Klopp versus Tuchel. I think we had like 3 or 4 nil-nil draws in a row. It was something like that. And I remember at work, I was having a
yeah.
conversation with my friend, a Chelsea fan, and we were all talking. Well, him and I were talking about how exciting the games were. And then someone who has an interest in football but is not really a fan is like, How are you guys enjoying a nil-nil?" It's because even though it ended nil-nil, it was those half chances,
Mm,
those little
Amazing,
things.
amazing
You
football,
see, you see the
amazing football.
tactics, you
I,
see it on the pitch, right? And you
yeah.
can see these two coaches knew what they were doing. Why I think
yet
it'll be a little bit different now is because the current two coaches are 8 games in with their squad. They do not know the squad the way those coaches knew their squads, right? And the teams both play a little bit differently. I think it will be a little bit more open.
Mm.
right?
That benefits both teams.
That
That's the
and
problem.
that does benefit both teams. But what I did say to X at the start was
Yeah.
I where I don't want to say where okay, actually I will say where we will win the game is in midfield because our midfield controls the game better than yours does. I think we can win the midfield battle and from the midfield battle go on and win the game. But I did say that with all that being said, one counter from you guys makes it 1-1 or 1-0.
I think because that's where I'm going. I think I don't have a problem with Liverpool controlling the midfield. I'll tell you
Yep,
why. Because we can sit in our block. We only need to win the ball when your front four has it.
yep,
Once your front four has the ball, that's where we start our counters. And that's what we did to Brighton. That's what we did to Wolves. Like, it's fine. Okay, you want the ball, you can keep it.
mm,
We know that if the ball is circulating between Gravenbach, Konate, and Virgil, you guys don't have control yet in
yep.
that space. You understand? You don't have control of the game yet. Where you want to have control is in the last third. That's when you involve McAllister, Saboslai, Salah, and Diaz. That's when Liverpool is most dangerous. And if we can stop you guys from using your pace in attacking us without giving you space behind us, then that forces you guys to try to dribble. That's when we can win. We can win balls. You bring in a not for fun because he's going to be injured. Um, Even Tosin, if we slow down the game in that third, Tosin is going to be very dominant in the air. He's going to be dominant on the ground because of how much he's such a large human being as well. And then Colwell, very intelligent defender, has got enough speed to react and recover with your strikers. So we'll be much more comfortable in that space, and we are much more used to playing directly now. We can play straight through the middle if you only have Gravenbach there, because we can have we can have Jackson on Gravenbach to play on the half turn there, and he's been doing that to a lot of midfielders this season. And if a centre back follows him, the centre back leaves space behind. So now you have Virgil
So
basically in
he-
a
here's
2v1.
here's 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 where I have to jump in, right? Like our defense is very well marshaled. I don't think Konate falls for the trap and goes with Jackson because I think if Konate is playing with another centre back partner, then I agree it will happen. But Virgil's going to see that. He's going to spot that trick a mile away, and he's just going to say, "Ah, you stay in line with me." And he does that. You see that on the
That's
pitch.
fine.
He looks around, he picks his arms up, and you see our entire defense just fall into place. Um, and we
That's
know that
that's fine, and
he's not going to follow Jackson. And if he does follow
and
Jackson,
it works.
he's following him knowing that he's going to win the ball. He's not going to make a
Yeah,
reckless decision to step out.
yeah, because that's the thing, and I'm not saying we will be well prepared for that, but what I know is when you do allow Jackson to turn and start his runs from the center or from that low pivot that he likes to take in the 10, if you allow him to do that, it frees up Palmer. So Palmer becomes a free runner who can create for all three of the front, and we always have the runner in behind in Enzo. Even though I don't feel like he has enough threat as the runner in behind, I genuinely think that he.
He's a
I said
number.
this last season as well. I said this last season as well. He needs to be more of a threat as the low man, the man that comes behind the defense, because he always has space. No one marks him. I've seen so many times where Jack Noni doesn't do the cut back to him, and he's standing in space, literally in the box or right on the edge, in the perfect space to hit, to place, to do all of that. Once we can start to identify that he's free and he starts to use those chances, I think he can become much more complete as an 8/10 in this
Mm.
role that Maresca has in playing. I think that element of his game really, really, really is my biggest issue with him. People can talk about, oh, he misplaced the pass here, or he doesn't have a lot of defensive, whatever. It's fine. There's a lot of midfielders in the Premier League who don't have defensive, ability. It's not required of all midfielders in the Premier League. Zoboslai is not asked to defend. Yes, he works hard, but he's not great defensively. McAllister is not great defensively. He does the work, but he can get bodied. That's why Gravenbach is there. And he's been brilliant defensively.
Yo,
Oh,
You know,
he
he
has,
started
I,
a lot of attacks. You know,
he
he
has not.
breaks up so much. He carries the ball long distances. He is
I
literally what
actually
Arsenal fans think Declan Rice is. He's
I
literally
actually
what
think
Arsenal
Ryan
fans think
Gravenberch
Declan
is
is.
the best carrier of a football in the league right now.
Yeah, he's amazing at
yeah,
carrying. He
he
Like
doesn't
is.
even dribble.
I saw
He
him,
just
I saw him
He's too
turn
he
clean.
sees
someone
space.
without touching the ball.
He's too clean.
He
Like
sees
He's
I
too
space.
don't.
clean.
It's
Well, even for the Dutch national team, he now starts, bruh.
mm,
You saw his assist for Reinders against
yep.
Germany.
He yeah, he
Yeah.
sees space so well. And he's one of those midfielders. He's like Kovacic to me, because Kovacic, you can't give him space in front of him. Like once you give Kovacic space, you're like, oh, take it, and he's gonna take it, and that's how he eats up so much of your midfield dominance. Even if you are attacking Man City, if Kovacic gets the ball and gets to break, when
Mm.
he breaks, he basically changes the focus of of of, of where the ball is being played. And then now City has the ball where they want it, and they can start their slow build up into the attack with ease. That's what Gravenbach has given Liverpool, and it's allowed Liverpool to speed up their attacks in the final third. So he's chasing, and then once the defense reacts, he releases, and now you've got Diaz, you've got Salah, who can quicken up the defense, who can force the defense to do something different, to force errors, who can create in those small spaces. And that I think is a new element to Liverpool that Klopp didn't have from his midfield. Usually, Klopp believed in his flat three. Trent and Robo were his wild cards that would
Yep.
go
They
and
were the
create in
creators.
that space and speed up the game for him. But now he can speed up the game from the middle to a point where Trent doesn't do the line hugging so much. Robertson actually pushes up more than Trent does these days. Robertson is always overlapping. Like I noticed that it's a new change to Liverpool, but I was like, this is, yes, they used to overlap, but it was equal before because they would get assists all the time because
It
it's either you have Robertson on this side or Trent on
it
the other
also
side.
okay. So going back to like when we won the Champions League and the league, it kind of also depended on who the opposition was, which like that's which fullback would overlap more. It also was because in Mane and Salah we had two wingers who wanted to come inside, so someone
Yes.
had to hold the width, right? Now Diaz can go both ways, and under Klopp he went outside a lot, so that's probably why Robbo didn't have to overlap as much.
About the Soboslai point, him going to the left, I think
Probably to cover
is
for the overlap.
no, it's also not even just to cover for the overlap, is to release both sides. Sobo always has two options on the left. He's got the overlap on the outside, and then he's got the in cut from Diaz on the inside. That makes him very dangerous as a creator.
Yeah.
Before, he sort of had to carry more and always find, because he was on the right, he always used to find Salah or Trent. Now he's got, and I feel like it's more his strength on the left side as opposed to the right. He feels freer as a creator on the left than he did when he was on the right. I feel like on the right, a lot of Liverpool fans always complained about him. He used to waste a lot of moves or couldn't
So
find Salah
okay,
with the right pass.
that's a little bit different, right? So that was on the right of a three where he had to do work to cover for Trent, right? Now I mean on the right as a number 10, drifting
I
out.
get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Hmm.
I get what you mean.
So
Because
on the
now
left drifting
you have a
out,
double pivot.
like
Because now
yeah,
you have
I
a double
feel like
pivot.
if
Yeah.
he did that on the right and it was Salah that was getting in the box, we'd be a little bit more impactful just on the simple basis of have your best goal scorer closer to the goal.
But I feel
Um,
like Salah also becomes your best creator. You guys have a difficult sort of setup in your team. Salah is your best creator in the last third. Creatively, he's your best player in the last third. The guy can see every teammate and find every teammate of his. And you can't say that about any of your other forward players, apart from
I can say that
maybe
about Trent, and I can
no,
say that
Trent.
about
Trent is not in
McAllister.
the forward. Yeah, but Trent is not
Okay,
in
you
the
mean
forward line.
specifically the forward lines? Okay,
In
yeah,
the forward
yeah.
line.
No, it's
So
it's
so
he's the only one. He is the
so where
only one.
Salah then goes, is in that sort of 10 wing position where he
The
can still
Messi
go.
role.
Yeah.
Yes, he can go into the box and score, but he can also facilitate. And he can facilitate because he attracts so much attention. So it's I understand why Slot is doing it. It takes down the threat index for Salah, yes, but it has increased massively for Diaz because he loves being inside. He genuinely does. And he doesn't waste his dribbling. Before, Diaz would beat the fullback, but
Yeah.
because he has so much work to do, it would seem like his moves don't come up to anything. You see all of the brilliance, and then what did it come to? He has to cross or whatever. Now, when he beats his man, he's looking at the goal. That's a
Mm,
better situation for him to be in. Or if he's free in the box, it's usually in the 16-yard box. When he's wider, he was usually collecting either if on an overhit cross from Trent or Salah was trying someone, and he's now just cleaning up because he was so wide. I feel like now he's more engaged when he's inside, and Soboslai serves that purpose because he keeps Robo wider, and then he provides the support for Robo for recoveries, and he's been doing great with recoveries as well.
Yeah, no, he
Because
has.
whenever
He has.
you guys
I
lose the
I've
ball,
been complimenting Sabasla. I thought he did have some weak games, but in general, he
yeah,
has
in
been
general,
very good at
especially
just being available, just being that extra man. And I got
yes,
called the top red for that.
nah,
Top red.
no,
Yeah.
it does make sense because I always say that when it comes to midfielders, it's very important to also look at what they do off the ball, not just
Mm,
what they do on the ball.
Probably more important.
Much more
yeah.
important. And I always say, there will be midfielders that you'll never be happy with off the ball all the time. But because they've got so much on the ball talent, you can let it go.
Yeah.
Those
Reposo.
will always be there. And then you'll have those ones off the ball are amazing. And then they touch the ball and you're like, give
Hey.
it to someone. Do
Like
Yeah.
not
Gallagher.
try anything. Just give it to someone else. But it's the joy of the midfield position. Unfortunately, it's the gift and the curse of the midfield position. You are lucky if you've got a midfielder that is good at both, but it hardly ever happens. Hardly ever happens.
Sorry guys,
Yeah.
my game got well, yeah, it started very late. Um, I see you guys are speaking on Liverpool. I don't know, you've spoken on the dubious decision that everyone when it comes to Liverpool. I don't know if you guys have addressed that elephant in the room
Can I,
because
can I,
it
can I
started
tell you?
spending.
This
Okay,
guy, this guy. Okay,
dude.
were we not having such a nice
What?
conversation?
Yeah,
No,
we're having
we're
such a
having such a
dope
great
God.
conversation. And I want to
Nah, but
say this.
I have to be
X
that
was
guy
seeing
that
his
talks about the
subscriber
elephant in the
count
room.
go up, and now you
Now,
pull in and you want to create drama.
No,
Do you know what it is?
I just
Do you know
want
what
to
it is?
say,
Unke and I
we
were
better
like
wait.
season 1 to 4 of Game of Thrones. You pulled in with your cheap shots from season 6 onwards. That's what happened here.
No,
yeah.
and the thing is, the reason I don't like to point out that type of decision, because I saw Fofana do the same thing
Mm.
against Bournemouth to to a Bournemouth player, and we didn't get a penalty, and Bournemouth didn't get a penalty. So I feel
And
like
when you
those
relieved, okay.
pools to me,
Yeah, you were relieved, right?
they
You were happy.
are ish. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I feel like in the box stuff, in the box stuff, especially in set plays, it has
Mm.
to be egregious. There's the one with Everton,
Yes,
Everton Newcastle.
yes,
Yeah, where
that
he
that
threw him
That's
to
wrestling
the
match,
floor.
egregious. See that?
that wrestling match.
Yeah, that's a foul. But I feel like those pools, those like you have to get some type of edge, and I feel like those little pools and stuff, that's just clever. It's the same thing Arsenal does when they block players. It's just
I don't
clever.
like it.
You,
I
it,
don't
it,
like it.
I'm
Thank you.
not a
I
fan.
think Shivar, you and I are of the same view. This dark
Look,
arts that everyone speaks of, I struggle with that. I don't like
there's
it.
a
It's
way to
bad for the
do the
game.
dark
Right?
arts, guys. There's a way to do the dark arts. Like pulling someone by their arm is not the way to do the dark arts. I'll tell you what the way to do the dark arts is,
It
right?
works.
If I'm Virgil, I know it works. If I'm Virgil, the way to do the dark arts is before the corner is taken, you just give the guy just a little push. You know, no, you're not going to knock him off his feet, but just a little, I'm here.
I
That's
remember
enough.
2 seasons back, before the season starts, the refs were going on about, you know what, this rugby tackling in the box is going to be done away. We'll focus on that. Where's that energy now? Because these players are doing it time and time again, and
I'll
it's
tell
an
you
Yeah,
what
easy.
but
happened there. I'll tell you what happened there, Sitle. What happened there was too many penalties were given, and that led to the opposite complaint happening. It led to the game's gone, things are too soft. Now you blow your nose and someone falls over. That's where that went. So they are trying to find the balance. For me, and I said this, I think that should have been a penalty. I can understand why the referee did not give it as a penalty
Yeah,
because
the
there was
only
a
way that
lot
you
going off in
understand.
that box. He
Nah,
would
nah.
not
The
have
only way that you
seen
can
it.
understand is because you're a Liverpool fan, and
No,
I think
what I'm
there's this
saying
talk.
is,
There's
Sita, can
this
I
talk that
finish?
no one
Hold
Bro,
wants
on,
to
hold on,
admit.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
City is
What I'm
so
saying is, I
upset.
can understand why the ref didn't give it because there's so many bodies in the box. He probably could not have seen it. But I do not understand why VAR
I
did not
actually
give it.
think
Yeah, go on, Kim.
I think the bigger penalty in that moment, the bigger penalty for me was Konate holding Chaloba, who actually was the one attacking the ball, who couldn't get a clean shot at goal because his back was turned to like from the ball because Konate was holding him, like genuinely just holding him, pulling him by the shoulder. So Chaloba couldn't turn
Yeah, I
and
didn't see
shoot.
that one.
So you see, and
Let's
that's
go
the
look at
thing.
that again.
Everyone is looking at what Virgil did, but what Virgil did didn't actually do anything because that
Yeah,
ball was so weak. The shot was so weak. It was an easy pickup for the goalkeeper. So even if Gehi wasn't impeded, he wasn't going to get to the ball. He could have challenged, yes, but it was most likely going to be a foul against him if he went in the air with the goalkeeper.
yeah,
Anyway, but
yeah,
the one that no one talks about is the one where the shot is actually being taken because Chaloba's body is faced away from the ball. He kicks it with his heel because he's being pulled. He's literally like there's an arm around him. He's being pulled away from the ball. And I feel like that's the contact that is the most the least punished but the most influential in those moments because that person is directly involved with the chance that is being created. He's the
I hear
one
you. I hear
who
you.
the
And
chance was created for.
Mm,
yeah,
look,
question,
I
guys.
don't I
And
don't like it. I think
oh,
just
mm,
don't put your hands on another player. I know I said, give them a little push so that they know that you're there. But I'm not saying, impede them. Just
mhm.
don't put your hands on another player. Keep it simple. And if you do, and the ref blows and gives it as a penalty, you can't have any complaints. I would not have any complaints if they blew on Van Dyke and gave that as a penalty.
I
I
think
said
it's
the
very
same thing
easy.
about the
It's very
Fofana
easy
one.
to say it. It's very easy, Shivar, to say it post the match because you've got the 3 points and you've walked away with it, and it's fine. I've got two questions, and at some point I will log off. And because I've been looking at Liverpool, Liverpool right now is looking like they are the team to beat. I know everyone goes on about Arsenal. Actually, Arsenal fans go on about Arsenal. So, two questions. The first one is your next 10 games, Shivar. I don't know if you've seen them. They're very interesting. You've got Madrid in the mix. You've got I'm not going to mention United because that's not a threat for you. You've got Chelsea in there. But the games, I don't know if I don't know, someone can show those games, but they
Yeah,
are
I'm gonna
very
show them now.
your next 10 games. Your next 10
Yeah, I'm
games.
gonna show them now.
And then the next question is around your three players. You've got Salah, you've got Virgil, and you've got who's the kid?
Trent,
What's his name? His
Trent,
contract is Kent, yeah.
Trent.
And there's rumors that he's already signed a pre-contract with Madrid. What's
he
the
can't
feeling
sign it.
around?
He
Okay.
can't
What's the
sign it
So
feeling?
now.
let me answer both those questions.
Wait,
The first
wait,
question,
before you
I just
answer, Shiva,
you want to
guys,
share
please
the
like,
fixtures.
comment, share, subscribe to the channel. I see there's quite a few of you guys. Please do the right thing. Shava, take it away, mate.
Okay. So your first question, Sukle, I did answer it at the start, when X was asking me how I feel about my team. What I said was, if at the next international break we are still top, then I will start taking it seriously. But for now, I say I want us to finish fourth, and from what I've seen, I think we will finish in the top four positions. I don't
Mm.
know if that answers it again. The next,
Nah,
like our fixtures
you're
get tough.
downplaying the potential of the side. It's fine. You're allowed to. I think Chelsea is
No,
also
look,
doing the
we've
exact same thing.
we've had a kind run, and things are about to pick up now. So come the next international break, whenever it is, sometime in November, if we are still top there at that point, before the Southampton game, if we go into that if we go into that City game and we're above them, then I'm confident. But or if we're above them and still top, always discount Arsenal. But anyway, then I look confident. But right now, you give
Yeah.
me fourth, I'll take fourth. On the second question, I am. This is another thing I got called a top rate for. I am not too concerned. Joyce put out a tweet, and Joyce is like more reliable than Romano when it comes to Liverpool and Everton. He put
Paul
out a
Joyce.
tweet saying Paul Joyce. No, no, is it Paul? I think it is
Yeah, it's
Paul.
Paul
There's
Joyce.
so many
Yeah,
Joyces. Yeah, Paul
yeah, it's
Joyce.
Paul
It's not
Joyce.
Ed. Ed Joyce was the cricketer. Anyway,
Yeah.
he put out a tweet saying that talks have started with, I think it is Trent and Virgil. Um, the Salah talks, I think, will be a little bit more difficult because his agent likes getting involved. But I'm where I am right now. I'm not concerned. It'll get done. As for the Trent pre-contract rumors, I call bullshit. Reason being, Onke just said it. He cannot sign a pre-contract until January.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's because of Real Madrid's right back situation and
Yeah.
It's
their
because of Jude, guys. It's because Jude and Trent are like joined at the hip. That's why.
that's also the
That's where
reason.
all of these rumors started.
Yeah, that's also the reason. I think they even asked Jude,
Hmm.
in the because it's Trent's birthday today,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Jude has been all over the place with Trent.
Hmm.
They asked
Hiding
Jude about.
behind that board and all of that shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you saw that picture.
Hmm.
Yeah, but they even asked Jude about the prospect of playing with him, and he was like, "Listen, it's one of my favorite teammates. It will be an honor. I genuinely think he's one
Hey.
of the best at his position. All of that, but obviously, um, the 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 the, the international break is time for media to get these narratives going as well.
Yeah.
This Real Madrid and Trent narrative has been around for 3 seasons now. From when they said Trent was unhappy because obviously of how heated Klopp used to run Liverpool. We've had this about Salah as well. Before he signed his contract, there was all those rumors about Salah leaving because he threw a fit at one point when he was getting subbed. But that happens in a club team. Everyone is very spirited in a club team, and tempers will flare. So I'm also I saw the Paul Joyce stuff. I think Liverpool are fine. I think they've got enough loyalty from those guys, and there's no indication that they are ready to go. I think all of them wanted to see how the transition was going to be before they commit, and I think they've enjoyed themselves under Slot. Had Slot been a Tenhag, because they come
Yes.
from the Eredivisie, then I genuinely think these guys would have told Liverpool, listen, in Jan, you guys are free to make whatever you can from us, or we're leaving next summer. And they would have been well within their rights,
I think
because this.
I think I think what look, okay, so also on top of that, all of them have said to the media that they're waiting for a new contract and talks haven't started. That is them
Yeah,
putting pressure on the club to get things started, right? I don't know why the club have taken so long, but I'm happy that it's starting now. And
Yeah.
on that, I think those three players would probably sign a contract with a release clause or with some gentleman's agreement to
Mm.
say, fine, I'm signing if they didn't want to stay, to say, fine, I'm signing a contract so you guys get a payday when I leave.
Mm.
I
I
think that
don't think that's what's going to happen. I think they actually do genuinely want to stay, and I think it'll be 5 years for Trent, 3 years for Van Dijk, and maybe I don't think we'll give Salah a 3-year contract.
yeah,
The
because I
Salah
think
one is
the
the one I'm
length,
most interested about. The other two, I have no concerns.
yeah, I
Okay,
think
let me
the
leave,
length
guys.
of
Great show as always. I'll be online, be a keyboard warrior, and congrats to Mr. VAR on getting that non penalty. Cheers, guys.
the bar full.
Shavar. Yeah,
And
yeah,
The
also we
bar.
started talks with Konate, not Konate, with Kwanzaa and someone else as well. So I think they're also just trying to get ahead of it now, so the same thing doesn't happen in the future. So I'm really not concerned,
yeah. Mm.
and I
Let's
got
talk
called a
about
top rate for that.
yeah. Guys, let's also talk about these fixtures before we segue because it's been quite 40 minutes speaking on Liverpool. Is This is a new record. But yeah,
It
Shavar, out
is.
of these fixtures, which ones do you think are pothole or stop sign or red robot
Um,
for you?
I think the Chelsea one is under lights at Anfield, so I'm a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
The Arsenal one, if it was the reverse, if it was 6:30 on a Sunday at Anfield, I'm smelling blood. I'm saying we're not just gonna beat them, we're gonna embarrass them.
Yeah.
Do
But
you not think? Do
ish,
you not
the
think
other
though?
way around, I don't know. Sorry, okay?
Do you not think though the Chelsea one becomes problematic? Because my issue is I don't like playing big games after the international break because we have South American players. We both have South American players. Players come and it feels like they're running through mud. They look fatigued. They look heavy-footed. They're making horrible mistakes. The football. If you
The
remember after
decision
the
making's
first,
gone.
yeah, if you remember after the first international break, I don't think any big team had a good game.
We
We
lost to
all got
Norwich.
by. Like we all got by. You lost to Norwich. We won at
Uh,
Bournemouth, but
Forest.
played at Forest. We won that same Sunday at Bournemouth, but we played a horrible game. And we could have easily lost that game. And I feel like, or was it the Palace? I don't remember, but I feel like it's always those games where it's just we come out and the energy levels are not what they can be or should be.
So
And I've
that's
always,
why I
and
was so
historically,
specific
this is a
about
great
under
fixture.
lights at Anfield. Because under
Yeah,
lights at Anfield, the crowd just gets an extra 2% out of you. And I think that'll just be enough. Right. And it's
fair
not
enough.
for a
Fair
tactical
enough.
reason. We've discussed the tactics. This is just
Yeah,
the situation of the game, right?
for the juice.
Um, yeah. The Arsenal one, I'm like honestly away at Emirates. They look good. They look like they know what they're doing. So that could be a
They look okay,
potential.
man. They look okay.
They're not going
No,
to win
they
the
look
league,
okay.
but put it this way.
I
Okay,
don't
as I
think
said, if it
Arsenal.
was the other way around, if we were playing them at home, I'm smelling blood. But they can cause an upset. Brighton's never easy. I'm just focusing on the league games. Yeah, Brighton's never easy. Villa's never easy. I'm glad we're playing Villa at home. Um, for the Champions League games, Leipzig will be interesting, but I
Mhm.
honestly, as a fan, I want to watch Liverpool versus Leverkusen. I just want, like, as a football fan, I want to watch that
Ah, that's
game,
gonna be
right?
amazing. I'm not
Yeah, it's
Right?
gonna
happy.
be
The Thomas one is gonna be trash.
Yeah,
They're
that's gonna
playing
be
shit.
boring.
They
yeah,
play
they are.
shit. They play so bad. And when you watch Barca and them, the difference is so big. It's like how are they even in the same league? It's shocking how bad Real Madrid is with all the
Yeah.
talent. It's so shocking. But then Ancelotti is Italian, and Ancelotti's never been about style. Ancelotti's
Mm.
been about.
Upset. Yes, upset.
Mm.
uh, Ancelotti's always been about effective game planning, not style. He's always been about that, and that's why he's so good at winning. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like for Liverpool, he needs. Ah, it's still Ancelotti, so he can get the best out of that team to win a game. That's the thing. That's the thing about him. He knows how to win a game of football. If there's one thing
Guys,
he can do.
it's Real Madrid in the Champions League, right? We know what happens.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
my my solace is that it's at Anfield, and at Anfield in the Champions League, bring it on. I'll take on anyone.
This is
I'll even
Anfield.
take on Pep's Barcelona, who did come to Anfield and lose. So bring it on. Um, yeah,
Hey.
that Southampton game, I think we stat pad in that Southampton game, get our confidence up, go to Real Madrid. Um, go to Real Madrid. If we play that City game and we are top of the log and we have beaten Real Madrid, then I'm changing my tune. And then I'm saying
Mm.
maybe we are on for something here. But I don't think it'll happen. I can see
I,
us honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we beat Chelsea and we beat Arsenal and we lose at home to Brighton. I would not be surprised.
I sort of understand as well. Like a part of me also understands why you don't want to go gung ho, because you it's more of a test of your manager's pedigree, and it's his first season. It's not pressure that a manager needs in their
Nope.
first season, especially in a league as competitive as what the Premier League has become at the very top. I think though this season every single one of the big three, I mean the top three as it currently stands, have one particular problem that they will not be able to solve anytime soon. It's their depth. All three of them, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, are not deep. And with the fixtures looking the way they're looking this season, with
Mm.
all of them in the Champions League this season, with the December period being a buzzsaw in the Premier League, and having to carry the Champions League into that period as well, it's gonna be telling. That's why I'm like, yeah, you can be happy in November, but I feel like
Mm.
we will actually get to see the league take shape, better shape around Jan,
Guys,
Mm.
because that's
it's
when we
honestly
see how well you can
you cannot
survive.
make any predictions before April, maybe March.
Yeah,
Well, okay,
depending
we all make our
depending how
predictions in
close.
March, and then April Arsenal have their yearly fall off, and then May we kind of know how it's gonna
depending
go.
depending depending on how close we are in Jan. It's
Mm.
always the Premier League is this way. Whoever sets pace between November to December usually is the one that wins the league. Ne? That's usually over the last, let's say, 6 years, we've had a difference in terms of that. There's been a lot of choking taking place post January, so I get where that comes from, but that comes from the reason that teams have been able to carry consistency throughout that November December period, and that's the period where you get a lot of ins and outs, a lot of niggles, hamstrings, ankles, sprains, all of that is happening in that time. And the team that weathers the storm best usually is the one that is at the top come the end. Liverpool, it was last season. And then they fell off horribly in a month. In literally
That was a
a
terrible one.
month. They fell off horribly in a month. Arsenal took the
But
mantle,
that
and
happened
then
in
they did.
March. That month was March, April.
Yeah, it was March. Yes, you guys fell off so bad. Like people even forgot that Liverpool actually led the league for so long. At some point, you guys only had one loss, just one loss and one draw for the whole season. And then for some reason, it just went to shit
But also, if you think about it, right?
after you won
If
the
you think of
Carabao Cup.
after we won, but
Literally, after you
if
won
you
the
think
Carabao
about
Cup.
it, even though we were in that situation, I don't know any Liverpool fan that was saying we were going to win the league. None of us said it. We all could see this team was overperforming.
Yeah, but there was that sense of, but let's be honest, and this is heading into the Carabao Cup. There was that sense of they're gonna do it for Klopp because Klopp had just announced before the
Yeah,
Carabao Cup
yeah.
that it was.
But it would
So
have been it would that is an emotional
No,
saying.
that's true.
That
But
is
when you
not
say there
a
was no
Liverpool
Liverpool
fan
fans,
looking at the facts. No Liverpool fan said that we were going to win the league. A lot of us
you
said
guys
that
were on
we'd
top
win
of
the
the
league
league.
for Klopp. We
You
were
were on
top,
top
but
of the league.
no one
You
was
were
talking
you were
about
in the
winning
cup
the league.
final. You were in the cup final. You were in the final stages of the FA Cup. There were talks of a treble.
They were no that was more tongue in cheek. No one was seriously saying, guys, we're
But
going
you
to win
can't
the league.
say tongue in
If
cheek.
we were saying
Nothing from
no,
our
what
fans
we
is
were
tongue in
saying
cheek.
was maybe this emotion from Klopp will carry us through. We were
Yes,
not
that
saying we're
was
going
the
to win the league
sentiment.
because of ABC. Right.
I can
Yes.
agree that it felt more like it would be a
Hope,
perfect send off.
yes,
It felt
hope
like
rather
it's
than
a
expectation.
send off rather than an expectation, which is why
Yes,
even when it didn't happen, it wasn't a bad season for Liverpool, you know.
exactly.
It was just shitty because, Man United also won the cup at the end, and it's like, it's like, so Man
Look,
United can say,
United winning a cup, we were happy with that because we were like, cool, we'll just get another 7 at Anfield.
nah, but still, it's one of those things like, you won a cup, Man United won a cup, so hey,
I
you
don't know which
know,
fans you are running, which fans are in your circle.
hey,
There's two
Tato,
types of
Tato,
Liverpool fans. There's
I
fans like
also,
me who experience Hodgson, but there's also these guys that only started supporting us, after we won the Champions League. Those ones
but
who started supporting us after we won the Champions League, don't pay attention to them.
I'm not gonna say Shiva said it because Shiva was very balanced throughout that period, but there was that sense from Liverpool fans that it would be such a perfect send off to give Klopp a domestic treble, FA Cup,
It would have
Carabao
been,
Cup,
but
Yeah.
yeah, that was the sense, that, and I remember how Virgil was talking after the
The
cup
Carabao.
final as well. Remember how Virgil was talking after the
Hey, he
Carabao,
scored
like,
a winner.
hey,
man just
He
man
scored a
just
you
winner. Look.
man just
Didn't
won a
he?
game with kids. He took his
Yeah.
lighties to the shop, and now he comes back and he owns the shop. Like, I'd be
Yeah.
talking a lot too.
Yeah. And he scored the
hey,
winner,
man.
didn't he?
And he scored the
Yeah, he
winner.
did.
Yeah.
He did.
You see, so it's that thing, bro. That hey, dude.
They
Look,
thought I
I'll be
was
honest.
finished.
I honestly thought we were going to win the Europa League. That I'll be honest. But
There was also that. I
I
forgot
did not
about that.
have any
Hey,
expectations with the
Atalanta
league.
had something else.
Oh,
And at Anfield as well, Onke.
mm,
The fortress.
This
That's
is
where it
this is
happened.
this is why I love Europe so much, because unlike
Yeah.
The Premier League sometimes can, sort of fall to the side where teams can bend over for a dominant team, for example. We've watched Liverpool, basically Arsenal has been doing it as well. Basically just bully teams, like just bully them. And usually the smaller teams are the bullies. The bigger teams are sort of the ones that have finesse, that beat you with their quality. But
yeah. No,
you
the
know,
media did have talks of a treble,
no,
but
this
I
was
came
it was
out.
a legit
I
thing. It
actually
was a
came out and
legit
said
thing.
that this is bullshit. I'm not believing the
It was
media.
a legit thing. It was a legit thing. It's just Liverpool fans won't own it now because you know, hindsight, because of hindsight. But it was a thing. It was a very when they beat Chelsea, I was like, yeah, Liverpool is coming for everything, and they were sure they were coming for everything. They didn't expect to have that march. No one knew
No,
March
no,
was
no,
gonna
no.
happen.
Look, I
No
didn't
one
expect
could have
us to have
predicted
that
that.
much, but I didn't expect us to win the league either.
Yeah,
Mm.
but I mean, if you were consistent throughout that March, you go into April still on top of the league. I mean, what are we talking about at that point? And you guys were the most consistent team in the league at that point. So it's like, it makes sense why in March you're talking about trebles. It makes sense. If you're top of the league in a cup final and you've just won that final, it makes sense to be talking about trebles at that point. And you are in three other cup competitions. It makes sense. In
Yeah.
two other cup competitions and top of the league, it makes sense.
And
There's no
we'd
point.
also just beaten someone in the knockout round of the
FA
Europa
Cup,
League.
of the Europa
No,
League.
no, the Europa League, and we drew Man United in the FA Cup. So we like, you know,
Yes, yes, I
it's
remember that
paved.
talk. Actually, no, Shiva, don't do that to us.
Yeah.
I
No, no,
remember
no.
that talk.
Okay. I'm saying I never thought we were going to win the league. I'm saying no one seriously said Liverpool were going to win the league. But I will own that I thought we were going to win the Europa League, and I own that I thought we were going to wipe the floor with United. Those two things I will own.
That game will always be one of those. How did they lose that type of
I know
games?
how we lost that game. I got on a flight and I think we were winning, and when I landed, we'd actually lost, and I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? I got to the hotel room. I put my TV on, and I saw. So when they show a replay of the game after the game,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw the last 15 minutes of extra time, and I'm like, there is no way, because we were dead. Like, our players were walking; they could not run anymore. And at that point I knew, like, this is not good. This is probably where
you
our collapse happens. I didn't think it
Shiva.
would happen to that extent,
That game
but
wasn't lost in extra time. That game wasn't lost in extra time. Liverpool was missing for fun. Like when a team misses and
okay, I
they
didn't
don't
I didn't
complain.
watch that game. I caught the
They don't
last.
put hands on their heads. When you're playing a weak team, when you miss a game, you just run back. When you miss a goal, you just run back. That's how they were missing goals. They were missing goals like, ah, we'll get another one. And they would get another one and miss again. And I'm like, how are they not scoring? I don't know how many times you hit the post. I don't know how many times Onana had to make an amazing save, double save. I'm like, what is going on today? And then Man United just needs to be efficient. And they're efficient. Goal.
But
And
I
when
saw I
Garnacho
saw their
scores,
last two goals, and I saw it. They were both on the
What
counter,
did you gotta say
and I
about
saw our
Garnacho?
players just couldn't cope. They couldn't
Yeah.
run, and I'm
you
like,
know when
guys, this
when
this is
Garnacho
where it all
scores
goes
against
south.
you, there's an element of arrogance,
Embarrassment.
like useless arrogance, that just feels Man United when Canacho scores because of how he
Hey,
celebrates, because of just the type of player he is. He's such an annoying player. Like a player like him scoring against you is so it pisses you off because it's like not this kid. It's like him and Rashford or Bruno. Like those are the players you don't want to score against you. If
yeah.
Ahmad scores against you, he's a baller. You're like, you know what? This kid is actually a great player. But like a Rashford scoring against you, dog, it's like this nigga hasn't scored in 6 years, and he's gonna score a brace against me. Like, what the fuck is going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. Quick question. Let's segue, guys, because I mean we've been speaking about Liverpool for 57 minutes, and the
Join
conversation
Record.
of
early, guys, if you want to speak about your team. Join
yeah,
early.
yeah, 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 exactly, exactly. You heard that, okay, trade early. So I just wanted to ask, with regards to United, I just want to pose this question to you guys since I read the opinions of other spectators in comparison to my own supporters because I feel like you guys know more football and you guys don't speak about passion. It's usually tactical. So it's a fact. It's a fact, bro. Like I'm just being honest. Yeah. With Man United, that of course we all know Tenhag is the problem. Uh, let's say you two guys were to replace Erik Tenhag. How I just want to share my screen. Like, how would you guys set up my team in such a way that we would be not as horrible as we are currently? Yeah.
I wouldn't go a 4-3-3.
No, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
same.
that's the reason why. Yeah, which formation would you guys go with then?
I
It
do four
it
two three
almost
one.
it almost has to be 4-2-3-1.
It's 4-2-3-1.
It
You
can't
have to
be anything
overload the
else.
midfield. You
You
have
have
to
to.
overload the midfield.
And you
Like
have
this.
to give and you have to give Bruno some freedom. You
Yes.
have to. It's not. I'm not saying he's a world beater or anything. What I am saying is he is a player in your team with the most quality. Get him the most freedom. Just
That's
back to
yeah.
basics. That's all.
All right, fine. So we've agreed on the formation. Okay, you guys have mentioned the formation. Nah, there it is. 4-2-3-1. Goalie. Who would it be for you guys?
Like, I can't even pronounce the other dude's name, so I'm gonna go with
Does Tom
Onana.
Heaton still play for you guys?
Yeah, he does.
I mean, guys, Tom Heaton can catch. Tom Heaton can catch. So
Tom
Yeah.
Heaton is a baller, but I'd keep Onana.
All right. And then fine. Left back, who would you go with? Mazraoui, Dalo,
I
Luke
mean, I
Shaw.
think the answer is Luke Shaw, right? Okay.
The correct answer is Luke Shaw, but I just want to say something. Mazraoui
Yeah,
played left back for a while with Kimmich
yeah,
on the right. I would
yeah.
actually try Mazraoui at left back
And Dallo at
and
right
take
back.
Dallo back to right back where he's stronger.
All right.
But I think in an ideal world, Luke Shaw is fit, and you can't. Luke Shaw hasn't done anything wrong to be dropped from left
Yes,
back.
no, he doesn't deserve to be dropped at all. If he's
Yeah.
fit, he starts. But let's
So I think
pretend
we go
because
with Shaw, right? Because ideal scenario. I'm Erik Tenhag. I've replaced Erik Tenhag. I've got all my players fit except for Malasia, who I still don't believe is a footballer. Um, I'm gonna go Luke Shaw at left back.
okay,
Okay,
let's
fine.
say Luke Shaw
Yeah,
remains injured because
yeah. Let's say you
he's too
means
fat.
yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
then I don't disagree with you. Actually, look, I
All right.
don't like Diallo, hey, but I
You
also
know.
feel like Diallo just needs leadership, someone to lead him on the pitch.
he
Yeah,
needs to play his
So
position. He needs to
that
yeah,
play at his position. He overachieved playing left back last season. Dallo's strength is on the right.
yeah,
A player who switched is gonna get caught out at some point. Mazraoui is still fresh. Liverpool Premier League defenders, attackers are not used to
don't know
him,
him.
and he's got enough recovery pace. Dallo seems to get lost in games now and stuff. But I also think it's not him. He's honestly over this coach. He
yeah,
just genuinely is because there's no reason for Dallo not to track runners. There's no reason for those are simple things for defenders. You're looking at your runner and he passes you, and you just look at him, like Brennan Johnson's goal for Spurs. That first goal is all Dallo. He literally watches Brennan run in front
yeah.
of him and just tap the ball in. That tells you that person is not engaged. They're not playing for the team anymore. So I think
Mm,
I'd play him at right back still.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mazraoui
Well,
to the left.
who's our other option? But I agree with you on this. If Luke Shaw is injured,
Mm.
I'm gonna shock you. I'm gonna shock you in the mid, at the
Centre back.
back.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
So
go.
I
I
would
also
play.
have something shocking to say. But you first,
I would play Johnny with the lift.
my
Mm.
guy. You stole me. You stole my shock. I was gonna say that.
They
Okay,
are the
can
best
I say
centre backs.
why? Can I say why I'm putting Johnny Evans in this team, right? It's
Cool.
because what I said earlier about Van Dijk marshalling the defense, you guys
Thank
just
you.
look like a unit when he's
Thank
there.
you. He's the
Yeah,
captain. He's
Yes,
literally a captain. He
that's
is the
yeah,
it. That's
United captain.
all. That's all. No other reason. He does not have the talent of Delict. He does not have the talent of the Butcher. He doesn't even have the talent of Maguire. But he has leadership, and that's what that entire team needs. A little bit of
Tato is
leadership, and
trolling.
he's got it.
yeah. He
Tato is
is.
trolling.
Yeah, he is. He's trolling big time.
I,
Tap the
I,
dog.
I'm gonna shock you in
Hey.
the middle. I'm gonna
All right,
shock you
let's
in the
go in the
middle.
middle. Let's go in the middle, cheers.
So in the middle, for my double pivot, I would have Lisandro and Ugarte.
What?
Mm.
Why?
Lisandro is an amazing ball winner. He doesn't have the height to be a proper centre back in the
He
Premier
did
League.
play CDM for Ajax. He did.
He did play CDM for Ajax, and his ball playing is one of the most underrated talents he has. When United builds up, usually he's the centre back that is the linchpin for Onana and the midfield, and he can do that for the midfield. He can create calm. He can be a ball playing CDM for you guys. Um,
Yeah, and
he
he can play on the
genuinely
half turn.
he can
I
play
think
on
he
the
can.
half turn.
Yeah,
He's got all the skills you need. He's got the strength. He's got the ruggedness you want and the legs that you guys are always complaining about for your midfield. Ugarte, I'm just placing him there. I I'm just placing him there because you guys have spent money on him. You know I don't rate the player that much. I actually rate Lisandro more than I do him. But I would play him. Otherwise, I'd play Casemiro in that position as well.
Yeah.
You have two enforcers. You have two enforcers to protect your back four. You have a competent back four as well. So you can have Dalo, for example, bomb up. You can have Mazraoui bomb up. You can create overloads with ease with your front four as well. And I feel like because of how defensive the two would be, that front four gets more freedom.
Mm. Cool.
I
Ra,
I
do you have any
so I'm trying to look at
projection?
this as I'm going the opposite way of you. Okay, you're looking it at this is how we're building from the back, and I'm
Yes.
looking at it as what are we trying to do, and let's build that. And
Okay.
I'm looking at United's players, and I've said this before. Their best player is Bruno Fernandes, and Marcus Rashford is world class when he is counter attacking. So play to that strength. That is why I do not want Ugarte in that midfield,
I
because
get you.
he's once yes, he will win the ball, and he will track his man and do all of those things. But now he's won the ball, then what?
Yeah.
Giving it straight back to the opposition?
Yeah,
No.
retention.
I
Retention
I
as
would
well.
want someone who could keep the ball and who could pivot and who could give it to those three ahead of them. So I'll take your point with Martinez.
So you'll
He
put
did play
Mino.
CDM. I will actually put Kobe there.
Okay, I battled with my own decision as far as Ugarte is concerned, but I feel as though if Lisandro is there, I agree with you 100%. Actually, I sort of backtracked my Mino thinking because it was going to be Lisandro and Mino, because I feel like Mino just needs someone who is like the butcher in the middle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's all he
Yeah,
needs. Someone
yeah.
competent, someone who will genuinely support him the way he needs. So I agree with you. Let's
What
take
No,
what I
Ugarte out.
sorry.
what I
I made a
think what I
mistake.
think Kobe needs is a big brother next to him.
Yes, a Gattuso, just someone who's
Yes.
going to get rid of all the nonsense for him and
Yep.
allow him to have the freedom to match up with Bruno and
Yep.
become a creative force in
Yep.
that way. And I agree with you 100%. It's just the I feel like United still need that CDM type of
Yeah.
quality for the extra
They
pivot, but
they
Mino can
essentially need
develop it.
someone who is a combination of Mainu and Ugarte.
Yes, yes. If Mino had speed, bruh, that's all this kid
Yo,
needs. If he need,
dude,
if he had pace,
he could
Mino would
run,
be
bro.
unplayable, bruh. If he had pace with his ball skills, he would be
Yeah.
unplayable because he would be able to recover well enough, to press well enough, to you could just let him loose on the field,
And even
just
carry. And
go
even
and
carry,
and
dog. Like
yes,
remember
But
he could
how
also,
carry.
okay, another thing that I'm looking at is you're not going to play a high line with Delict and Evans, right? You're going to play a little bit
Aha,
deeper. And if Mainu
yes,
is a little bit deeper, I can back him to beat a man and play a pass.
I
There's no
get you.
one else in that midfield who I can say can beat someone pressing you deep and can play a pass out of trouble
Yeah,
consistently. Look, your midfielders do it every now and then. They're professional footballers. They will do it, but he can do it consistently at the level that you would need. I don't
mm,
think
yeah,
anyone else can do it. So it kind of has, it's unfair on the kid, but it kind of has to
yeah.
be him.
But I agree.
right.
I agree with you.
All right, guys,
I think Cam,
before we
we both
proceed,
agree.
Sorry,
yeah,
you
sorry,
guys, X ones too.
guys, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Help a brother out. I see there's quite a few of you guys here. Please, you can proceed, okay, if you wanted to say
I
something.
I think Shiva, we agree on
Yeah,
Cam.
Mm,
it has to. We
It's
can't
yeah,
we
Bruno.
can't disagree.
Yeah,
He's
it's
yeah,
Bruno. Mount is on the
take away
bench.
the ball
For that
retention
position.
responsibilities from him and
hundred
just
percent.
let him cause havoc, and he
Yeah,
will be your
Yes,
best player.
100%.
yes.
I mean,
On the left,
as much as
yeah.
I also criticize Bruno, I just feel that it's best that we play our players to their strengths. Look at Scott McTominay at Napoli. He's being played as a box crasher, and that's his
Yes,
strength. That's the reason why he's doing so well there. For Scotland, same thing. he's been playing to his strengths. And so I feel like with Ten Hag, he plays all of his players in a way that shows their deficiencies. And
Doesn't
so
hide, yes, doesn't hide their
Yeah.
weaknesses.
yeah,
Also, I think
yeah,
Bruno X, when we used to talk at work,
yeah.
I always said Bruno was a player who takes responsibility. I feel like he's taken too much responsibility now. He needs to be relieved of some of that
And
responsibility.
and as well, he's also knackered. He's tired.
That too.
He's
He's tired.
That
tired,
too.
bro.
Man
He's
is
got
getting sent
Tired.
off on purpose here just for a
yeah.
break.
He's tired, bro. You know, I'd say even with Manu, with him getting muscle injuries, it's bad. It's because of how Ten Hag has these guys running like headless chicken. I mean, Mount, when he was at Tonke's team, hardly got injured. Mount was like Gallagher, hardly got injured. He was always available, but now he's no longer available. He's now getting injured
Sprints,
all the
bro.
time. Yeah,
Sprints, bro. The lift is gonna
yeah,
get injured. I'm telling you this now. The
yeah,
lift is gonna get injured. He's got a history of muscle injuries. The way this man trains, he's gonna get injured. That's why Shaw can't stay fit. You need
yeah,
a manager that can create a regiment of training that benefits the player and
yeah,
works away from the things that might affect the player the most. You
yeah,
have a team of players that are going to get affected by these methods. Now
yeah,
Maino is also injured. That's,
yeah.
those are some of the things that are going to happen. And then he's going to say, I've got too many injuries. I've got too many injuries. There's too many injuries. There's nothing I can
Yeah.
do. We're doing the best we can, but we're getting better. We're getting there. It's just about sticking to the plan. Stick to the
You just
plan.
need, you just need a cheese
Stick
cup
to the
fries and
plan.
you'll be good, Uncle. That's all that's missing, dog.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
left wing. Do we agree on left wing? Or do you have
Ganacho.
something? I was gonna go with Rashford.
I know you're gonna go with Rashford. Let me say this to you, ne? Rashford is, I don't know how to put it. I don't know if he needs a new coach every time to become that, but it feels like there's always this jump from him when he gets a new coach, and then he fizzles out. And
Yeah.
I feel like Ganacho's got the hunger. At least Ganacho will allow himself to continue to hit his head against the wall until something gives. Rashford has that will, that desire is gone from him. And I struggle with a player like that. I
I'll
need
tell you
I
what.
need
I'll tell you what I think it is, right? I think it's a new manager comes in, they look at what they have, and they're like, from what I have, my best way to play is counter-attacking football. So they start
Mhm.
playing counter-attacking football, and that's where he shines. Then they're like, okay, we're getting wins. I need to build on this and make the next step. And then they try to play more control-based football. Rashford cannot play in a control team. He has to play on the counter. He does not have any strength to play in a control team. What happens is he then tries to play in a control team. He tries to play where he's looking for one twos and trying to be creative and all of that, and he loses his confidence. And once he loses his confidence, once he loses his confidence, um, then it's just head down, and he can't get out of that rut until a new manager comes in. So I'm saying I want to set up counter attacking, and I want to go with a confident Marcus Rashford. But I do agree with you. If I do not have a confident Marcus Rashford, I would rather than have Garnacho.
Yeah, it's not even from not believing in Rashford and his quality. It's the how minimal I get to see it, because he has these dry spells that seem to last forever. When Garnacho will pop out every other week, like if he doesn't score this week or assist this week, in the next 2 weeks, if Garnacho continues to play, he's going to do something in a game. I want a winger that at least gives me that. And I know I can play him in a counter-attacking situation. I can play him with possession. I can give him 1v1 chances. And he's still going to be the same type of winger every single time. And I feel like that is more. It, 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 I'm, 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 I'm much more confident putting that guy out there, having Marcus Rashford as a backup, like I would have Mason Mount as a backup to Bruno, when we are trying to hit on the counter or we are trying to press a team,
Or you just
those
need legs.
qualities, yeah, those qualities that they have are great for tired legs. But when we are starting a game and we are trying to stamp our authority on a game, I want a player who's going to help me do that, who's going to create headaches for the defense. Because the defense might say, we want to sit back, because we're playing Manchester United. And it's being coached by Onke now, not Erik Tenhag.
Yeah,
So we have to take them seriously. So if a team does that, I know I've lost Marcus Rashford for that game. He's gone. He's in my starting lineup, but he's gone. He's totally gone because he sees the fullback every single time he gets the ball. And Marcus Rashford doesn't want to see the fullback in front of him. So that's a
Agreed.
problem for me.
Agreed.
That's a problem
I,
for me. So that's why I
I'll
would
I'll
have
concede
Garnacho.
on that. I'll
okay,
concede on
Garnacho.
that. I can't
Garnacho.
believe. I still can't believe we both settled on Evans. I think you're the only
No,
other person
it's
who agrees
we're
with me
not
on Johnny
settling,
Evans.
but we are not settling. He's one of
Well,
their best centre backs, and it's particularly for
unfortunately,
what United needs in the back.
leadership.
That leadership, he has
Yep.
all of it.
Mm.
Yep.
Right, I think we agree as well. It's Ahmad.
Yeah.
Ahmad, yeah.
Yeah. Because I think he's the best ball carrier in the team.
He's the best ball carrier, best passer in the final third for the front three
Yeah,
as well. He's the full package for a right winger.
he is. He is,
He's
bro. He
just
is.
not. He needs to
Nah,
take a step up.
Yes,
no, the
I
thing
He's
is,
agree.
not. He's not the end player yet.
He's not a goal
Yet.
threat yet.
Yet.
He's not a
That too.
goal
Yeah.
threat yet.
Yeah.
He needs to be a goal threat for him to get. Because look at right wingers in the league, bruh. They're goal threats. Noni is a goal threat. Saka is a goal threat. Salah, I don't need to
yeah,
say anything about him. I think I look at him as the same way I look at Savio, from Man
yeah,
City. That's the next step for both of them. Great footballers. They need to become goal threats. They need to start contributing in the final third with goals. Then
like
they'll become
the way
what they
Saka
can be.
does. Yeah, the way
Yes, the way
Saka
Saka
does, bro.
does.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And then ST striker. Wanna hear you
Hey,
guys?
this one is a difficult one. This one.
This is a difficult one, but there is something about Hoyland that I like. I,
He's a
I
box
like that he
striker.
never backs down. Yes, he is a box striker. He needs to be the guy getting on the end of things. You can't play controlled game with him. But I
Yes.
like that he's always up for it. He reminds me a little bit of Darwin, where he's always ready. He always looks confident when he's shooting, even if he misses. I
He's a
like that.
warrior.
He's
He's
a
a
warrior.
warrior. I,
He's
I,
a
I
warrior.
respect that more than I like Xerxes as a footballer. I
I
Yeah,
feel like
Let me tell you what I
football
saw of
brains.
Xerxes in the Liverpool game, right? Maybe it's because
Yeah,
he's playing against his captain, but I saw that he was a little bit afraid. Maybe
he's a
afraid is a strong
child.
word.
He
He's
yeah,
a
he's
little
a
bit within himself.
yeah, no, with Virgil, it felt like you're playing with your big brother,
Yeah,
and your big
yeah,
brother is playing for the best team in the league, and
yep,
you're
yeah,
still at the on the amateur side. It looked that way.
yeah.
He
There
he
was
he
there was this
basically
moment where when Van Dijk won a header, and you saw Xerxes just like doe-eyed looking at him, and that's exactly
yes,
it.
I know. It felt like it just didn't look. But when I've seen him against the other teams, the smaller teams, that is, he's very confident on the ball. He's quite good on the half turn. Um, he can drive as well with the ball. Great decision making. Apart from the Spurs game, where I think none of the United attackers could make a great decision or pass a teammate for the entire first half. That was a horrible half of football from them. That entire team. But I feel as though that was his worst game. The Liverpool game is very close to that. But I think with the Liverpool game, it was more the quality that was in front of him. In the Spurs game, Spurs is not great defensively, but they made Spurs look like fucking Chelsea in 2006 in that game. I mean, Spurs were all over them.
yeah. It was bad,
So
bro.
I to a point where there were comparisons of Van der Ven and Van Dijk. I'm like, wait, and
Yeah,
Saliba. I'm like, wait, guys,
Yeah,
when did Van der Ven enter these talks? Do people
yeah,
know
he
how horrible
didn't.
Spurs is in
He didn't.
defense? But it's because of that United game. That United game made them look like, yo, Van der Ven is such an amazing footballer. No, those guys are shit. Van der Ven is just fast, but they're actually shit at defending. They can't think. They're
yeah.
horrible decision makers. But yeah, I think I wouldn't go for Xerxes as well. I'd go for Hoyland. I think Rasmus for what Ahmad and Bruno and Mino combined do as far as passing the ball, I think he can eat very well. And I think as a coach, I would have to get it through Ganacho's head that you need to lift your head to look first for the
Yeah,
striker before you take the option of shooting. The option of shooting is always secondary,
yeah, that's
depending
the
on the
thing.
position
You're
you're
right.
in.
You're
Yeah,
right about
depending on
that.
the
Okay.
position you're in.
Yeah,
And I think as a youngster, Garnacho can still be coached on that.
yeah,
Ahmad has clearly been developed as far as that's concerned. And it's
yeah.
because Ahmad has gone on loan, he's plied his
Mm,
trade elsewhere, so he's learned to develop his all-round game as a footballer as far as how to play in a team. Garnacho's been at United from the academy. And I think this is when you realize why loans work. Because at United, Garnacho got overhyped. So now he wants
yeah,
to meet those expectations of stardom. I was playing next to CR7 and all of that, but he needs to understand that he needs to develop that part of his game where he plays with his teammate.
bro.
If he misses it, he's going to end up like Rashford. When he can't
Yeah.
score, there's nothing else that he provides. He needs
The
to
last,
learn how to become a winger
yeah.
that provides as well.
And you know what? You've hit the nail
I
on the
want to
head.
say something. Just
Oh,
sorry, X, I want to say something very
yeah.
pedantic here. I want to swap Mainu and Martinez, and I know I know it's like their footedness, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, I've got Diallo who can look after the ball on that side, but on the left hand side, I don't have someone who can look after the ball.
Oh, as in swap
So
them
I
around.
kind of want, a little bit of that balance.
Okay,
Also,
I hear you.
also I would also swap Delict
I
and
hear you.
Evans for the same reason, right? Because if the ball's on the right hand side, I
So
know
so
Delict can look
so
after
so we
it and
know
find
we know how
Fernandez.
this
Yeah, could continue.
we know what's going to end up happening though in this situation when United has control and they can push up. Let's say they can push up, but within the lines. When you play a high line but a compact high line, basically, where you're not giving any space in behind because you have your keeper also sweeping high, but you are sort of around the center line, not aggressively high like Spurs does directly on the center line, but you're just a few yards behind the center line, basically. Um, I think in those situations, what's going to end up happening is if Mino is on that side, Lissandro's going to have to stay middle. Bruno's going to
Mm.
go right to
Yeah.
Ahmad's side. This
Yeah.
um, Mino is going to push up into the 10, where
Mm.
he's going to have to link both Garnacho as well as Hoyland as well as the overlapping Mazraoui. He's gonna have
Mm.
to become the linchpin for all three of those positions basically. So what ends up happening is Lissandro's gonna take the middle as a lone pivot when you have control, as the lone pivot who can play with the defense because he's used to playing with the defense as well. So he can spread the defense to allow them to handle counter attacks. So the defense will be wide enough to handle counter attacks if they overlap because Lissandro will be staying. So
Yeah.
you
Then it almost
just you
doesn't matter
just
which
take
way you have them.
exactly. So you take the lift wider, you take who's this you take Evans wider to the right, the lift to the left,
Yeah.
Evans to the right. You end up having a back three basically in that formation. You have a
Yep.
back three with Lissandro taking the middle there. You have a back three, and you can recover very quickly and help your counter press. If the counter press doesn't work, you've got three defenders basically sweeping and the goalkeeper sweeping high. That usually works. Liverpool does that sometimes when Trent goes up. Gravenbach falls in. Gravenbach falls in, and that's why he carries so well because he picks the ball up right at that base of the defense, and then he carries it back into where Liverpool has control. Kovacic does the same thing for City, carries the ball back into where City has control. And I feel like that ball recycling is what you need to have control, and then you can work on ball retention continuously after that. But I think this is what would work. But you need coaching philosophy as well to go
Yeah,
Yeah,
along
you do.
with what
hundred
this team
percent.
can produce. But the technical ability in this team, particularly, is very high.
It's very
I think
balanced.
I'm also looking at this, and I'm like, I don't like the fullback partnership with the wingers. But I think if Luke Shaw is fit, that also kind of sorts that out because I'm
That
looking
serves
at
itself
Dallo as
because if
someone who wants to
yeah, because if Luke Shaw
overlap, but
is fit,
yeah, so sorry,
Yeah,
I'm saying I'm looking at Dallo who wants to overlap, but he doesn't need to overlap on that side because Diallo is fine there. And I'm looking at Mazraoui who would also want to overlap, but he's now on his wrong side. But Garnacho is better when he's holding the width. But when you get Luke Shaw in, you can kind of move Mazraoui to the other side, and that does sort of, fix that problem. So
yeah. Hmm. I know, guys. Thank you,
but
thank you, thank you. Yeah, go
what
on, Ken.
this underlines is the quality of the Man United team. I've got some lag, guys. Sorry, my connection is shit. What it underlines though is the quality of this United team. There's quality in the team. There's coaching that is required to get that quality to actually show up. And this team is crying for that quality. They're not playing this bad and not putting in a great effort just because. They are also sending a message to the team, to the club to say, guys, we need help. Guys, we need better. We can do better. We can be better. We've shown you we can produce better football. But we need a coach that can actually get that out of us on a more consistent basis. And it's not going to happen with Tenhag, unfortunately.
Mm,
I would actually argue that if you guys get a stronger manager and he marshals his team a bit better, then I could actually say we can then take Johnny Evans out and put someone who's an actual, footballer or still at the age of a footballer in. The reason I have Johnny Evans there is because
Maybe
he
Euro.
looks, maybe Euro. But as it stands, I would want Johnny Evans there just because he looks interested in coaching, to be honest with you. He looks interested
yeah.
in marshalling the defense, and Ten Hag doesn't look interested in doing that.
Mm. No, indeed, indeed. I know, guys. I fully agree with you guys. I like the balance of the team more than anything, and I also think of off the ball. This could work as well with the way the team is set up. So yeah, man. Unfortunately, Ineos are moving. Yeah, they're moving like the Glazers now. Like there really isn't any urgency because we all can see that it's the manager that's problematic. But they still want to keep the guy. They don't want to pay him out. So the suffering will continue, I guess. But yeah,
But I mean,
it's
X,
yeah,
we said it was a manager with Van Gaal, and maybe it was. We said it was a manager with Mourinho, and it definitely wasn't. We said it was a manager with Oli, and him being the manager was probably why you guys were, actually looking like a functional football team. Ranier came in and he had a lot to say about the squad. And now Ten Hag is here and we're saying it's the manager again. At what point do we say, hey guys, what's going on in this dressing room? What do we need to fix in this dressing room?
mm,
There's a chasm of leadership at United. It's
mm,
been there for so long that the moment Ronaldo came in and introduced leadership back into that space, there was discomfort, even
mm,
from the manager himself.
Yep.
There was discomfort because he's not used to that personality being in there, personality that's going to demand, the standards that United used to stand for. And I think Johnny Evans being there, I saw that on Sunday as well, man. It looked like, yes, Villa wasn't great, but in part it was because of how brilliant Johnny Evans had the defense of United playing, you know, and it's such a weird feel when you watch United. There's a very nonchalant, it doesn't matter, it's whatever kind of feeling about how they play. It's almost as if there's no outcome that they care about. There's a frustration that you'll get. There are those players that genuinely want to win and can't get to why they're not winning. So they end up feeling despair and
Frustrated.
stuff. But yes, but you don't see that sentiment penetrating through the team. And usually teams shouldn't respond from frustrations. Teams should actually draw from the strength of being assured by what they're doing. What I think is gone is the belief in what the manager wants them to do. And once you see a plan fail so many times, you stop believing in the plan. You stop
Mhm.
trying for that plan. And they've seen his plan fail so many times. They've been embarrassed so many times. It's gotten to a point where they can't bring themselves to care enough to try to see it through, unless it's worth their pride, like the FA Cup final, where it's
Mm.
pride involved. It's an opportunity. So there's an extra against Liverpool in the FA Cup semi-final. There's pride. No, quarterfinal. There's
Quarter
pride
final.
involved. But what happened against Coventry in the semi-final? That's when you've seen a plan fail so many times, where a Coventry team you were beating 3-0 comes back and almost wins and loses by a toenail. Literally. Loses a game that could have won 4-3. That would have been the greatest comeback in the FA Cup, literally from a smaller team. From 3-0 down to 4-3 win. Last kick of the game. That would have been that offside call was genuinely,
A
the
lifeline.
lifeline for Ten Hag as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Ten Hag, definitely
Yeah.
for him. So those are some of the things that show you that the sentiment, the players stopped liking this guy a long time ago. After the FA
Yeah.
Cup final, they asked Lisandro, what is the sentiment with you guys? What are you guys supporting the team? And Lisandro said, "We'll see what the team decides. Right now, we just want to focus on celebrating the win." Meaning that there was no. You see how the Chelsea players were sending messages to Poch showing how much they were in support of him. They were not like they were not against him.
Okay, I think we've lost. Okay, I want
That's
to
not
say
the case
just
at United.
okay. Okay, back. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, you dropped for a bit, but continue.
Yeah, it's fine, guys. My network is also saying
Yeah.
it's
It's
been an
it's
hour
actually,
and a half.
yeah, it's been we had hour and yeah, an hour and a half, bruh. So in closing, just I don't know what you want to say. As far as your team, Shiva.
I hope we don't get any injuries in this international break. That's all.
All
That's all
right.
I want.
Hey,
I want the boys to come home
hey,
safely.
Yeah, yeah. And then Onke on your team.
happy about my team. Happy with the strides we're making. First few months with Maresca have been great. It's refreshing to fall in love with my team again. That pit of pain for the last 2 years has been something else. I'm happy it didn't last that long, because I don't know if I was going to be able to still have hair on my head if it continued for another season.
Yeah,
I've become spoiled. I've become very spoiled as a football fan, and I don't blame Man United fans, because basically most of you guys, your entire childhood, Man United was on top. Your
yeah.
entire childhood.
Literally,
It's
literally.
the
Up
same
until
for Kaizer Chiefs fans. It's the
mm,
same for Kaizer Chiefs fans. You've only known dominance, and then the
hey,
the the masterstroke left, and you've known mediocrity in
yo,
different degrees. Like, you've gone down the degrees of mediocrity to the point of relegation at this point. So I wouldn't want to go down that ladder at all.
yeah,
So I'm glad that we are back to being a decent side, a side you actually genuinely need to worry about. Even if Liverpool fans are like, it's just Chelsea, they shrug us off. But I mean, we are back to being a formidable side, a side that you're like, listen, if these guys tire us with their first, wave of attackers, once the other guys come from the bench, we are gonna be finished.
mm,
And so many positives, man. So many positives. The result will come. The consistency will come. the growth will also come. It's a young team, so I
Yeah.
expect mistakes. I expect some lapses in concentration and quality as the growth continues. But we've done so well, man, and I'm happy we have a coach that demands that of our players, you know. And this is to answer Man United fans who are saying, who is out there if we get rid of Ten Hag? We got rid of Poch and found a better replacement who was not known by our own fan base, who no one
Yeah.
knew about, who was in the championship. And Liverpool lost Klopp. I said this end of last season. Liverpool took a risk on Slot. Chelsea took a risk on Enzo. I think Man United would have rather taken a risk on someone else and lived with the results that are similar or adjacent to the ones Liverpool and Chelsea are
Yeah.
enjoying currently. Because
I've been
what you guys have
hearing
going on,
I've been
Yeah.
hearing that they were looking at Thomas Frank, and I like Thomas Frank as a manager.
Mm.
like I love that guy.
Yeah, he's a good manager, solid, and he
What a
even has
coach!
he is he's a brilliant coach. I mean, considering even the amount of injuries, how he's adapted. I mean, even Brian Mbeumo, who I like a lot for fantasy, is getting me points, and even the way he plays, bro. Mbeumo is is a problem, and he could
The baller
score
is a
against
problem.
us. Yeah, he could score against us because we play them next. Ish.
He will. He will. They he's
Yeah,
so meticulous as a coach. He says
yeah.
the first minute goals they've been doing. They've been
Mm,
practicing them for the last 2 seasons. Kick off
dude.
moment. How
Yeah,
to get to the final third on a kickoff quickly
yeah.
to create a chance. He's like, we've worked on them for 2 seasons and they're finally
Coming
happening now.
to
And
they're
I'm like,
happy.
coaches like they're meticulous. A coach that plans moments, situations, those are good coaches. He's
Yeah,
great at set pieces. He's great in game, changing tactics and all of that. The stuff that you always complain about Ten Hag, like Ten Hag doesn't make great subs. That guy makes every one of his players look so much better than they actually are. Like who the
100%.
Thank
hell is
you,
Wisa?
thank you. You,
100%.
the
Like
Even
player
we
you are when
he
you
makes
join
them.
Brentford. Sorry, the player you are when you leave Brentford is 10 times the player you are when you join. It's the opposite at United.
Yes, yes.
100%. I
So
guys,
he'd be
I
great
look. I
for your
hope you don't
culture.
get him because I like him. I like him as a manager.
Yeah,
So I hope you
he'd
don't
be
get him.
so
But
great for your culture.
mm,
He's
yeah,
also a goof with the media. He doesn't take the media seriously, so
yeah,
he
yeah,
wouldn't
he reminds
he
me a
wouldn't
little of
struggle with the
Jurgen in that
pressure.
aspect.
Yes, he
yeah,
does. He does. He's got that Pep Jurgen type thing. Like the
yeah,
media
Mm,
can't get to those guys. Like
yeah.
yeah.
they're very sarcastic. They're very sarcastic.
Yes.
He's the
Yes.
same. Like I remember last season, when they got a draw against us, he was like, "You know how much my team cost versus that team. Like I'm proud of my team. My
Mm,
team cost this much. That team cost £1 billion. Like to get a result against that team, it speaks great to my players. That coach he's always gonna have your players' backs, and he's gonna launch so many careers. So many
yeah,
careers will be launched by him because he understands his players so well, how to get the
yeah.
best out of them. So yeah, get Thomas Frank. I want United to be good. If United can be
I'm
Spurs
okay.
good,
I'm
I'm
okay.
happy.
Yes. 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 Spurs good. Yes.
All right, guys, let's call it. Let's call it. Nah, thank you so much for availing
Spurs
yourself.
good.
This was an amazing episode. Once again, much appreciated. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Help a brother out. This is Easy Sport, and we out. Peace.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, cheers,
Away.
cheers.